Unlike the energy or the airline industry you heard about earlier today, the healthcare sector is in many ways still stuck in the past century. My name is Fabian, and I'm heading the diagnostic imaging sales team for Siemens Healthineers in Switzerland. At Siemens Healthineers, we believe that being stuck in the past century does not only pose a great deal of challenges to the industry, but also brings along the responsibility to pick up the opportunities that come along with it. Opportunities such as bringing high-end medical treatment to rural areas like Gstaad, but also opportunities that allow us to personalize medicine, which means to bring the best diagnosis and the best therapy to each and every one of us. Therefore, I'm super pleased to be able to participate today at the first Gstaad Summit. And we're super excited to share with you the vision we have at Siemens Healthineers, how healthcare industry should look like in the 21st centuries. We will show in the next 15 minutes our vision, and you will see how our technology can help and contribute for every one of us to live a healthy and happy life.
In the decades ahead, healthcare will undergo dramatic transformations. Medicine will become more precise. Value will shape care delivery. Patients will become empowered consumers. And digitalization will transform every facet of healthcare. Patients will have a digital twin, a customized computational model of themselves, enabling Dr. Clive to anticipate illness, guide therapy options, and predict outcomes of procedures. Healthcare will become anticipatory, organized around Paula's medical conditions, and available around the clock, transforming care delivery. Local ambulatory microclinics will provide fast access to care for patients, because for Paula, every minute counts. Multidisciplinary, highly productive care teams structured around patients and their needs will collaboratively deliver the full cycle of care. Remote interventions will be supervised by experienced clinical experts working at the top of their license. It will be followed by personalized rehabilitation therapy at home to ensure Paula's fast recovery. At Siemens Healthineers, we are uniquely positioned to support healthcare providers as they expand precision medicine, transform care delivery, improve patient experience, and digitalize healthcare. Our mission is to enable them to increase value, shaping the future of healthcare.
Not everyone gets a second chance in life. For me, entering and winning a competition was always a highlight. I always wanted to be perfect, unconditionally. And I think I got caught up in this mode of working and hustling, a competitive mode. Like every other day, I got up at 6 in the morning, and then I fell. And I couldn't speak anymore. My wife noticed this and immediately called the hospital. When the ambulance came, the paramedics realized that I most likely had suffered a stroke.
This case was serious, right from the start. Stefan was half paralyzed on the right side and had trouble talking and understanding. If the symptoms had remained, it would have disabled him for his entire life.
I accepted my fate. That's how it was. But anxiety? I don't think there was any room for anxiety. Not in that moment. Later, yes.
We immediately performed a CT scan, but since it wasn't really clear from the CT whether or how we can treat him, we also performed an MRI. We found a vascular occlusion with a fresh infarction, which is why we decided to continue the therapy by means of thrombectomy.
After this incident, I very often went to the mountains to be with nature. Nature keeps waking up again, and I felt like I was in symbiosis with nature. I also woke up again, and then I discovered something that I previously had never really seen.
It is very satisfying for us when we see that someone like Stefan is again able to go swimming and to enjoy life. That's our goal.
At work, I learned how to say no. And in sports, I learned that it's not about performing, but to have fun. And to live with a body as it is now. There's always a way. Always.
Every day, you analyze, connect, discuss, and keep your finger on the technological pulse of time. Every day, you are giving your very best. You never stop. And all with one goal, to provide the best possible care for your patients. We know that and are here to support. Around the world, cardiovascular diseases are the #1 cause of death. That is why we at Siemens Healthineers declared hearts as our mission. In cardiovascular care, it's essential to provide patients with a precise diagnosis, tailored therapy, and continuous follow-up, making them the focus throughout the entire clinical pathway, and making confident decisions supported by our connected cardiovascular solutions. As your partner for cardiovascular care, Siemens Healthineers is committed to supporting you in improving patient outcomes by transforming care delivery and expanding precision medicine through digitalizing healthcare.
Dual Source CT, ready beyond tomorrow in cardiac imaging. Heart disease is a growing concern all over the world, and diagnosing and treating the condition poses unique challenges. To achieve optimal procedural planning, high-quality images are necessary, but this is not an easy task when you're working with anatomical structures that are always in motion. On top of that, you have to take into account the specific needs of each patient. Let's go into detail and look at some of the ways in which Dual Source CT can help solve these challenges in cardiac imaging today, tomorrow, and beyond. Most modern CT scanners can be used for routine cardiac imaging when the fine structures of coronary arteries need to be visualized. This is because, with the help of medication, you can slow down the heart to expand the diastolic phase. Under these conditions, you can acquire images without motion artifacts using single-source scanners. But the slow temporal resolution of such systems means that, regardless of how wide the detectors are, you run into problems once heart rates exceed 70 beats per minute. It's a completely different story with dual source CT. When single source scanners run out of speed because the available stationary period during the diastolic phase is simply too short, dual source CT scanners can still keep up. Despite the significant temporal resolution benefits, it is possible for the diastolic phase to become challenging even for dual source CT. This can happen when you're dealing with tachycardia or high heart rates in pediatric patients. Likewise, arrhythmia and congenital heart disease make things difficult as well. In all of these cases, the diastolic phase is too short or often unpredictable, resulting in motion artifacts that affect image quality. Single-source scanners offer two options for scanning under these conditions. The first one is to use multi-segmented modes that scan the anatomy several times starting at different positions and then combine the separate images. You end up with an increased radiation dose for just one poor-quality image. The second option is to use software-based solutions to improve temporal resolution. The intent is to correct for a poorly measured scan, but there are significant limitations associated with this method. Of course, yet another option with single-source scanners is to accept that imaging at high or abnormal heart rates will generally be lower in quality, and just try to use them anyway. Single-source scanners struggle to provide optimal results under these conditions because of clear physical limitations. But with dual-source CT, you can simply turn to the systolic phase when you need to scan patients with tachycardia or arrhythmia. This phase remains stable and predictable for all patient groups. Dual-source CT scanners offer such high temporal resolutions that the image acquisition neatly fits into the systolic phase of the cardiac cycle. This enables you to achieve cardiac scans of exceptional quality in even the most challenging cases. Beyond coronary artery disease and congenital heart disease, another indication is moving increasingly into focus, namely structural heart disease. Minimally invasive procedures such as TAVI or TAVR require in-depth planning with the help of pre-operational images. Dual-source CT offers optimal support for these procedures. Thanks to the high-end image quality, you can measure anatomical features with great precision. New and highly advanced applications, such as mitral valve disease treatment, truly allow dual-source CT technology to unfold its full potential. To plan this kind of procedure, physicians need to be able to visualize the constantly moving cardiac anatomy using high image quality. This requires extremely fast temporal resolution. Single-source scanners are limited in this area and have no software to compensate for it. These limitations result in reduced image quality when you attempt to visualize constantly moving anatomy for individual patient conditions. Dual-source CT technology, however, is fast enough to visualize how the valves progress from an open to a closed state and back. These high-quality images of anatomical motion in action are exactly what you need to optimally plan mitral valve disease assessment and treatment. With dual-source CT, you can scan the whole ECG in high quality, so the technology is perfect for routine cardiac imaging, for your challenging cases, and even for emerging cutting-edge applications. Furthermore, dual-source CT technology allows you to address individual patient conditions, such as renal impairment, obesity, dose sensitivity, and other possible contraindications or additional clinical requirements, while also achieving high-quality results. Dual-source CT is a revolutionary technology. It features a range of acquisition modes to optimize image quality in every situation and for every patient. Discover how dual-source CT can help you make the right diagnosis and ensure the right treatment outcomes for each individual indication. Dual-source CT, ready beyond tomorrow in cardiac imaging.
I'm very self-aware of my body size. But that's life. Life isn't designed for people of my size. Life is designed for people of a smaller stature. And you just have to get on with it. My body size is that it helps me doing shows as Henry VIII. Each day you get up and think, oh, what am I doing today? Every day is different, so I'm lucky.
A broken hip feels like somebody's took a hammer and just hit you in the hip, and then it like crunches every time you move. It was horrible, it was terrible. I did a lot of maintenance to make sure I could stay on the court. Basketball means everything to me.
I was born with asthma. The best way I think to describe it would be, it's like drowning from the inside. It's not being able to breathe out, and that's why people will die. I don't know why I can play the trumpet. It might just be practice. You're fortunate to have a life, so do something with it.